Have you been trying to get pregnant for some time with no luck and are wondering if you're doing everything that you can be doing, or are you just starting to try and want to have all the information you can so that you can get pregnant as fast as possible? Today, I'm going to share with you my 6 tips that are going to help you set the foundation for a faster and healthier journey to a pregnancy, the pregnancy that you deserve. And I can assure you, these are not going to be the basic tips that you've been reading about in all the books and online. These tips come from 21 years of experience as a natural fertility doctor. I'm going to show you exactly what I do with the members of my online fertility program so that you can start doing it too at home. I've been helping couples get pregnant for the last 21 years. I've helped them by finding out what's not letting them get pregnant, developing a personalized fertility plan for them, and giving them ongoing support. Before we get started with today's episode, I created this free guide called Food for Fertility that you can download and use to get started to create your own fertility plan. I'll leave the link in the description below so that you can get it easily. All right, now let's jump right into it. All right, so as we get started here with my 6 tips, the first and most important thing is a foundational basic thing that we all need to be doing, that you all need to be doing, which is you need to understand your menstrual cycle, what it means, how to understand it, and how to follow appropriately with what you're doing over the course of your cycle as it correlates with your menstrual cycle. So first and foremost, we need to understand what a normal menstrual cycle is. Maybe you've heard it before, but I'm going to explain it again. A normal menstrual cycle should be 28 days. Maybe it could be 26 or 27. It could go as long as 30 days, but that's what's technically considered a healthy, normal cycle, where you have 2 phases. You have the follicular phase on the front end, which is the phase where your follicles are developing and your eggs are maturing. And then you have the second phase, which is your luteal phase, and this is after ovulation. We could actually divide it into 4 phases, but for the sake of this conversation, I'm dividing it into 2. Pre-ovulation follicular phase and post-ovulation, the luteal phase. So your ovulation should happen about right in the middle of that cycle, about 14 days. So on a 28-day cycle, that means it's happening in the middle at day 14. And it takes about 14 days for your follicles to mature. And then afterwards, that next half of the cycle, the luteal phase, is where you hopefully will have implantation. This is where you might hear something referred to as the 2-week wait, right? The 2-week wait is from ovulation to menstruation, and it's usually 2 weeks. And hopefully what you find out is in the beginning of that first week is that your progesterone starts to rise. And as you get closer to that 7, 8 day, 9 day window, that we have some implantation. And then from there, you are hopefully maintaining the implantation and having a healthy pregnancy. But if you don't, then come around cycle day 14 post ovulation, so cycle day 28, then you should be having a menstrual cycle. This is what we think of when we think of a healthy menstrual cycle. Some of you confuse menstrual cycle with menstruation, right? So if someone asks you how long is your cycle or your menstrual cycle, they're talking about from day 1 to day 1, hopefully 28 days. And if they're asking you how long is your bleed or your menstruation, then they're talking about how long that menstrual bleed is. And that should be anywhere from 3 to 5 days roughly. And the count or the start of day 1 of your cycle is the first day of bleed. That's how we look at that. The importance of tracking your cycle is so that you understand where you're ovulating, the signs and symptoms around ovulation, so that you can time intercourse and predict everything appropriately. The kind of best way to track ovulation is through basal temperature. I think it's actually just the simplest and easiest. Some people will say that all the ovulation trackers and cycle trackers are easier. They are, but sometimes they are in the sense that you're hands off, but sometimes they don't give you enough information like a basal temperature would, and sometimes we're looking for more. The one caveat that I will give to all of you who are tracking is that if tracking increases your stress and causes you more stress, I'm going to ask you not to track if you've got a regular cycle, because then we're just going to assume that you're ovulating somewhere in that middle of your cycle, and then you can time intercourse appropriately based on that. Tip number 2 is about optimizing your diet and lifestyle. Again, some of you might say that you've heard this before and this is basic, but This is essential, and I think I'm going to approach it a little bit differently for all of you. I want you first and foremost to recognize, okay, that your nutrition plays a vital role in your fertility. And that if we don't have proper healthy nutrition and diet, that our fertility, our reproductive health is going to be compromised as a result of that. So how do we maximize that? Well, we want to make sure that we have a balanced diet with lots of good, healthy vegetables, good quality protein, and good quality fat. And then around that, we sprinkle in the other things like fruits, legumes, and grains, and carbs, and so forth. We sprinkle those in. But the basis of your diet really should be protein, vegetables, and fat. And that is an essential piece. But one of the things that I want to work on or mention for all of you is that quality is key. Quality is probably the most important thing that you can focus on when you are thinking about your diet. All of this, if you start focusing on the quality of the food you're eating, it will naturally filter things out. So you will naturally get rid of processed foods. You will naturally get rid of refined sugars. You will naturally get rid of fast food because you're focused on quality. Okay, and that's really, really important. And when you start focusing on quality, what that starts to do is you will filter in organic foods. You will filter in grass-fed meats or pasture-raised meats and wild meats and good quality fat, right? So if we approach this in a slightly different way and say, I'm going to focus on the quality of the food that I'm eating and make sure it's good, healthy quality, I think so much of the chaos around diet and nutrition will be filtered out. Many of you know exactly what you should be eating and know when you're eating something bad, right? So let's think about that above all. And I think that will really help you. And to mention again, something that can help you and support you to make better choices and understand the foods you should be eating is my Food for Fertility guide, my free guide that I mentioned earlier. You can grab that free guide to help you filter out the bad food, to put in the good quality food, and to start to help you create your diet plan and your meal plan for any given week to feed your fertility and feed your hormones properly. And I'm going to leave that link in the description below. Point number 3 is prioritize stress management. I know that you might be saying, well, I've heard this before. We've got to relax and not get stressed. Yeah, I don't think it's as easy as that. And I think most importantly, the best way for us to start to focus on relaxation or stress reduction or stress management is to first and foremost focus on the things that bring us joy and happiness. I think inherently, as we incorporate things into our life that make us happy, that bring us joy, right? That naturally feeds our healthy lifestyle, that naturally releases endorphins, makes us feel good, and as a result, we will naturally balance out our stress. And we will naturally, in a healthy way, manage our stress. So if we're getting all consumed by trying to find ways to manage our stress, I think that also causes more stress. And some of you do a funny thing when we start to think about stress management. We say, well, I need to work on my stress, and the way I like to de-stress is to exercise. So my main way that I'm going to de-stress is I'm actually going to wake up early in my day to get in my exercise. And as a result, you compromise your sleeping patterns and healthy, good quality sleep, which actually causes more stress on your body. It puts an additional stressor onto your body. So I don't want it to be like that, okay? I don't want us to be stressing to de-stress, which causes more stress, right? Stress plus stress equals more stress. So we need to focus on the things that bring us happiness and joy. And I think that's really, really important. I'm not saying that can't be exercise. It absolutely can. But if it is, then how are we going to do that so it doesn't cause us more stress? It could be yoga. It could be breathing exercises. It could be just spending some time outside in nature or at the beach. Those are things that I love to do that helps me relax and just reconnect with nature. A couple of things that I want you to think about is what are your favorite hobbies to do and are you doing them regularly? That's number 1. Number 2 is, do you meditate and can you meditate or can you do it more regularly? And it doesn't have to be for a long time. I want you to put aside 5 minutes twice a day to do some deep breathing and just regrounding and meditation. And I think that's all you need to help you reset and recalibrate your stress and your adrenal glands over the course of a day. And then I want you to incorporate those good hobbies and get out into nature. Prioritizing self-care and relaxation can help create a more conducive environment for conception for all of you. So I want to make sure that you are prioritizing over the course of your day and your week. All right, the next tip is assess your environmental toxin level. That's right, this is key. Something that I think many of you are ignoring. Now, some of you might be trying to clean up your lifestyle and your environment by eliminating what you believe to be toxic chemicals, which is a great start. But I think we need to take a notch up, right? We need to level this up just a little bit more so that we understand specifically what we need to focus on. And so environmental toxins found in our everyday products can interfere with our hormonal balance and our fertility. So we need to opt for natural alternatives wherever possible. These are things that you can make at home real easily with water and vinegar and maybe some other products. These are also things that you can buy if you are more conscious about that. But in general, we need to be more mindful of this. And a great example of this is this environmental toxin test that I run for all the members of my program. All the members in my program are asked to run this test, and you can see that I folded the test a little bit because I'm trying to hide the person's name, but I am showing you, this is a summary page, and on this summary page you can see that these parameters are high. Okay, this is BPA, by the way, that you can see right here. This says BPA. TCS is also high, and this is DMP. This is moderate. It's right here. So this is a summary page of all the findings on this report. And actually, for many people, this report, when I just find 3 things, I feel like a win, like that's successful, because I've had many who have 7, 8, 9, 10 things. Okay, I rarely find someone who doesn't have anything. Actually, I only recall one person whose test came back like that. So this first section, so you can see some of the things that we're testing. This first section is environmental phenols. That's where the BPA and TCS are. Those are phenols. Okay, they test for herbicides. On another page, you'll see pesticides, mitochondrial markers. Right here, we're testing for parabens. These look good on this report. I mentioned pesticides, so this is the place for pesticides. This is phthalates right here. And then these are volatile organic compounds on this page. So it's a pretty comprehensive test, and one that I think is really, really important. I actually test this after we start with a detox with everybody in the program, because then we've kind of set the stage for things. This gives me the next stage, the next step with everybody before they get their personalized plan. We're able to assess their environmental toxin levels, create a plan to eliminate those and manage those long term, and then we move on from there. So I really suggest that all of you are assessing your environmental toxin levels and then taking necessary steps to eliminate those and then create new habits so that they don't return. And the next one is addressing your underlying health conditions and concerns. And so I want you all, first and foremost, when you're doing this, is to actually take personal inventory over your health. What does that mean, Dr. Marc? What does that mean, take personal inventory? What it means is I want you to assess your own health. I want you to start from the top to the bottom, from inside to outside. I want you to assess your overall personal health. And I think we're all equipped and able to do this to some degree. I'm not saying that you can address the areas of concern on your own. I think many of us need support for that. But I think you are capable, at least as a first assessment, that you could take inventory of overall health and that you can do that on your own. Now, there are things that would come up positive on a test that you would never know about. So I'm not suggesting that unless you already know it's there. I'm just saying overall, we can all look at our overall health and say, well, these areas look good and I do pretty well here, but I think in these areas I can do better. So I do really well with cooking and I get regular sleep, but I don't exercise enough. My digestion feels off. I don't always feel good when I eat and I digest my food, and I have irregular bowel movements. And I don't do a good job with stress management. So these are some areas that I want to put a little bit more attention into, right? That's just an example. I'm just throwing out things. I think you all are capable of doing something similar and creating a list for yourself of areas that need support. What should also go on to that list, by the way, are conditions or health concerns that you already know about. So let's just say that you already know you have an underlying thyroid issue, or thyroid disease runs in your family, or PCOS or endometriosis, or whatever health concern, migraines, whatever it might be. If you already know that you have those things, then let's add that to the list as well so that we can reprioritize how you focus on that. Maybe you do know that you have migraines and that they need support, but you've been doing a really good job of managing that. So maybe it doesn't need as much attention as, let's say, creating a good exercise habits, whatever it might be, right? So I want you to take some personal responsibility for your overall health and start to create a list of the areas that you want to focus on or that you believe need more support than what you're giving it right now, and that can improve your health and your fertility. And next is, I want you to get proper professional guidance and support. Remember in the last point, I mentioned to you that you need to take your personal inventory and create the list of areas that need support. And I said, you might not be able to give yourself all the support you need in those areas, but at least you know what they are. And then you know who you need to search for and what sort of professional or specialist that you need on your team of healthcare providers. This is really, really important, okay? Your team of providers is there to support you on your fertility journey and for your overall health. And so understanding what you need to be looking for gives you a jump start in terms of helping you find the right individual or individuals to get the support that you need. Maybe it's one person, maybe it's a team. Like on your fertility journey, maybe you're going to find an IVF doctor, you've got your OBGYN, you'll have your natural fertility expert like myself. You're going to be creating a team of individuals to help support you to get you the results that you deserve. And they're going to be assessing everything. These are also the individuals that are going to help you look deeper as to what's going on. When you do some lab work, they might find some things that you didn't know were there. And we're going to put all that together to create a healthy plan for you to get you the support that you deserve. We all cannot do that on our own. We all need coaches, doctors, mentors, teachers, whatever that might be, to get us to the next level. And fertility is no different. We want to get you to the next level of your fertility, which means a healthy pregnancy and a healthy baby in your arms. And for that, I do believe that you need to get proper guidance and support by a professional who can guide you along the way and throughout the process to get you those results that you deserve. If you want to go deep into your fertility, find the root cause that's not letting you get pregnant, then be sure to fill out the application with the link in the description below this video to speak to a real human, a real person on my team, so that we can identify if this is the right next step for you and see if you're a good fit to join the Hope Fertility Program. As I said, we all need coaches and mentors. I can be yours if you want me to. Now, I want to make sure that you check out this series of videos to keep you learning more about your fertility. You can get that link again in the description below. And until the next video, stay fertile.